Each year, there are nearly 20,000 students who apply for physical therapy programs across the country, but less than 10,000 of them actually get accepted. That's a horrible acceptance rate, but I want to share one strategy that can increase the acceptance rate for you, and that involves understanding how to answer questions that you get during your PT school interview. I'm going to share some of the strategies I used as an average student to get into one of the #1 schools in the country. And I don't say that to brag, because if I can do it, you can do it. I want to share a few ideas with you in this video. Let's go. Okay, so one of the very first questions you're going to hear in one of your interviews or during your application process, like for the essay, will be this: why do you want to be a physical therapist? And even if they don't ask you that specifically, you really should understand that answer very thoroughly. But it seems to be one of the hardest questions to answer, especially when you're across the table from folks who, there might be 5 or 6 different physical therapists there. They may look intimidating in their suits. They're asking you this question: why do you want to be a physical therapist? And you freeze. But I want to give you a strategy that will help you answer that question, and it breaks it down into 4 parts. So the first part is this. Question 1 that you ask yourself is, what makes you a unique applicant? So understanding your background, maybe you studied Spanish literature in college, or maybe you're an education major or a teacher, or transitioned from a career in finance like I did 5 years prior to applying to PT school. So those are things that make you unique, make you different, and it can help you answer the question why. Now, the second part of that question that you should ask yourself before developing your why is this: what fascinates you about physical therapy? Please don't say because I can help people, because a lot of people can help people. Bankers help people, grocery store managers help people, nurses, plumbers, electricians, they all help people, but it's not a good enough answer for why do you want to be a physical therapist. So I ask you this: what is fascinating to you about physical therapy? And maybe it's the fact that you can work with pediatrics or geriatrics, or in a neuro setting, or in a sports environment, or whatever range of treatment settings. And that was one of the things that fascinated me. You see, I like the options in physical therapy. I like that I can have one central school that I go to and become trained in the field of physical therapy, but I have the choice. I can work in pediatrics, I can work in sports or geriatrics or home health, and I don't need to change careers. I just change the route of physical therapy that I want to do by applying to another job if I wanted to. So that gives you the ability, the flexibility to help people in a wide range of environments. So that was fascinating to me. To you, it might be how the body moves and how simple changes in movement can affect someone so positively in terms of pain. And so really focusing on what fascinates you can help you better answer the question, why do you want to be a physical therapist? Now, that third part to this question is, have you experienced physical therapy, or how have you experienced physical therapy? Personally, I didn't even experience physical therapy prior to going to PT school. I'd never had an injury. I wasn't really in sports. I was a musician, and so I didn't injure myself, nor did I even really understand what a physical therapist was until one of my friends applied and became a physical therapist. I was fascinated by the work that he did, so I shadowed a PT. And so my experience in physical therapy includes following a physical therapist week by week and experiencing it firsthand. And that leads into that fourth question that I encourage people to ask themselves is, what did that experience mean to you? And so to me, shadowing someone every week allowed me the opportunity to see how someone would progress, because I got to see a lot of the same patients. And I shadowed someone for about 6 months before I decided, yes, I really want to pursue physical therapy. So understanding the type of environment that I enjoyed, which was an outpatient hospital setting, but also seeing the progress of these patients and the autonomy of that physical therapist, how he could develop the plan of care and take lead of that treatment session every time and watch them progress, that really impacted me and gave me that satisfaction and joy each week that I could see progress with people. And even if they didn't make progress, how the physical therapist could pour into that person's life and still make a difference, even though maybe they didn't meet their full goals. Maybe they were able to achieve a partial amount of their goals, but it really impacted me to see how much of a role that we have outside of just doing exercise or manual treatments with our hands. So understanding the 4 parts under that question to develop your why gives you a really good broad picture of yourself to them, and it helps them understand that you've put some thought into this question of why do you want to be a PT. Now you can explain to them what makes you unique. For example, I worked in business and sales, so I understand the role of marketing and how convincing someone might be really difficult. And so the same is true with our home exercise programs or with someone who's had physical therapy before and they don't believe that you're going to have an impact on them. So that translates into what makes me unique. My background in sales and financial industry pairs perfectly with this career. And secondly, what fascinates me about it is the autonomy, how I can develop my own plan, my own approach without someone saying, you need to treat someone this way. And so that's also what drew me to physical therapy. And I solidified that by following someone for 6 months, really understanding what they were able to do with a patient. Even though I've never had PT myself, I got to see the progression of someone and how that impacted them, and which really impacted me every week. I could see the progress. And so I want to be a part of that progression of healing with someone. And so that's my why. That's what drew me to physical therapy. That's a much better answer than just saying, because I want to help people, or I was injured in high school and I really like the idea of being a physical therapist because it's a cool environment. I mean, that's a fine part of a reason that it could interest you, but really develop the why behind that question. I know we spent a lot of time on this one question, but it's so important because if you actually get accepted to PT school, I want to encourage you to continue asking yourself why. Why do I want to be a PT? Because you're going to have points in your life and your career where it doesn't feel like you want to do it anymore. I'll be frank with you. In any job, you're going to have that feeling where maybe you're discouraged, maybe you don't want to do this, and you have to go back to your why. You have to figure out, why is it that I'm interested in PT in the first place? Why was it that? And why am I interested right now? And if you cannot identify it now, you're going to have a really hard time later identifying your why. So that's why we spent so much time on it today in this video. But I want to dive into a few more questions, kind of in a rapid fire style, about some questions that you can expect during your physical therapy school interview. So let's get to those. What made you decide to apply to our physical therapy school program? There are many health-related careers. Why didn't you pursue medicine or nursing? What do you think that you can offer to the program in physical therapy here or to the profession as a whole? Can you provide an example of a way that you handled a situation that was difficult in the past? Who would you say inspires you? What areas of physical therapy have you experienced? How do you define success? What motivates you each day? What's been your favorite college class that you've taken so far? All right, that's just a snapshot of some of the questions you might hear during your PT school interview. I've put together 30 plus interview questions and answers and strategies, all in the PT school interview guide that I've linked below, or you can go to ptprogress.com/interview guide. It's like a 35-page book. That book dives deep into some of the strategies and actual essays I used to get into one of the top PT schools in the country. So check it out on the blog. And thanks so much for watching the video. If you found it to be helpful, I would love it if you liked the video below. And if you want to get more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and we'll be sure to send them to you as soon as they come out. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video.